this is Greg from GregAries Productions. We're about to cook sushi, or make it. Alright, so we'll start with some of the very basic and simple vegetables. Not everyone uses it. One of my favorites, however, adds a nice crunch. Regular, pretty simple celery. I cut it prepared into about 5-inch lengths before I go trimming. So we're going to use the regular chef's knife. I like to effectively divide it in two, and then I usually go and divide it into sections that are approximately 1/2 centimeter by 1/2 centimeter square, and again 5 inches long. One standard stalk of celery should get you about 10, if you're lucky, 12 different size pieces. When they're done, they should look about like that. Now, I'm using two types of cucumber today. It's effectively the same cucumber, but I'm doing two different treatments. The first thing to do is to take a standard quarter, and you want to remove the seeds. They're not particularly tasty, nor do they really add anything to it, and it's much easier to work with the plain flesh. So, again, I'm working with approximately 1/2 centimeter pieces. These ones I leave a little bit thick, just because they tend to get watery. Now the other treatment I'm going to do is with skin. This adds a nice bit of color, and when you are putting a sushi piece together, one of the most important things is presentation. You really do want to have something fun for, all of your guests to enjoy. So we're going to come down here, and again, in this case, we're using more of a wedge shape, as you can see. I let it be a little long, but again, we're almost 1/2 centimeter, maybe a little bit shorter. These pieces, again, you get about 6 to 8. And that's it for the watery vegetables. Now we're going to go to the reason I got the spoon. This is an avocado. It's been cut in half. Quite simple. Now, the reason I use the spoon is to extract it from its coating. What you want to do is take the spoon's tip and push it as close as you can to the edge of the skin and drive it in. As you see, it's relatively simple to push through. The skin itself separates very quickly, and with the edge on the spoon, you are able to basically move it underneath the avocado skin and remove one piece all in, well, pretty much one shot. You'll see there's a little bit left inside the actual skin, but for the most part you won't need that. From here, we'll want to divide this. Again, we're using about the 1/2 centimeter distance, but you will find if you have a good sharp knife, it will pass through the avocado very simply, and you will not have any binding. Obviously, if your knife's not quite as sharp as it needs to be, you will notice very quickly with something like avocado, because it is so smooth. The last item I'm going to add is something that I'm particularly fond of. Not everybody uses it, but I think it's a wonderful addition, and it also adds a nice bit of color. This is a mango. I'm going to divide the piece I have here in half, and then we're going to take it and cut it along its length to provide us with the nice pieces we want, long and straight, that will go into each piece of sushi that we use. This piece has fallen apart a little bit, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. You want to have a uniformed look, but you don't necessarily have to have the same piece going through the entire piece of sushi. Now, sushi is, of course, effectively raw fish. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you the quick processing of a piece of salmon. This particular piece was picked up for a relatively reasonable price and mostly can be found throughout Canada. Standard salmon, relatively simple. As you can see, this piece has all of its skin still intact. hasn't been descaled in any way. So what I'm going to show you now is the quickest way to remove the backing, or the skin side. So this piece is approximately 9 inches long at the farthest, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to subdivide it into pieces that are about 5 to 5 1/4 inches wide. So you basically want to go in and try and do it in one clean stroke. If your knife is sharp enough, you should be able to go through the skin. You can see difference here, and in the center there's a really nice big thick piece of skin. This is why I brought the scissors. Scissors, simple, kitchen, very easy to use. You can use shears if you like. I find that they just pass through the skin very quickly. You will get a little bit of scaling on the edge, but that's okay. You don't really need to worry about that. So we're just going to take this piece and we'll remove the other piece out of the way. So now we still of course have the skin attached to the meat underneath. If you go on the fatty side, which is the top here, you will actually be able to remove part of it without even needing the knife, because it's not as well connected. You can see here, I've been able to take off the part at the top. Now, the ideal for separating it very quickly, you want to put your knife just underneath, and the skin is quite resilient. You can actually just draw your knife underneath, and you would be effectively able to remove the flesh here from the skin here. That is basic prep for most of the ingredients. Next thing I'll be showing you is how we put it together. Alright, so we're going to go to just taking a quick look at the fish and how to process it quickly and effectively. As you can see, this particular piece is nearer to the tail, so you have a bit of a draw away here of size, and it's a little bit thinner on this side as well. So what I'm going to start by doing is taking the side here that's a bit thicker, and I'm going to slice off probably 2 good chunks. They're about 1/2 inch wide. In this case, this is ideal for what we want to be doing. Now on the other side, of course, it's a little more difficult because it tapers away so severely. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this small section here, which we could save for sashimi because of its width. However, we're going to continue here about the same width until we get to about that height. So as you can see, we're getting to approximately 1 inch now on the depth chart. So now what we're going to want to do is take the fish and stand it up a little bit, and I'm going to draw my knife from the top to the bottom to effectively bisect it. I've got to find a good spot to do it here. Alright, so you want to take your knife, line it up, and then go pretty much straight down through the fish and draw through. You get 2 pieces that are now about half an inch deep, and I can continue cutting and doing the same process I was doing before. Draw the knife back in one shot, and we have just the right size 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch cubes. And now, all the fish is ready to go. Alright, now we're going to do 2 treatments of the salmon. Obviously, I showed you the very simply cut earlier. Nice and easy, simple done. This is about enough to do probably 15 to 20 rolls, depending on how much salmon you like in them. Then this is the same amount of treatment, but what I've done is put a spicy sauce on it. Now the spicy sauce is a simple combination of Miracle Whip, or you can make it homemade, or of course if you prefer any other variety. And then a pretty much simple over-the-counter red chili mix. Most Asian stores, actually most standard grocery stores, carry this pretty much everywhere now. I tend to use a cappuccino spoon just because it's smaller and easier to work with, and you know, small container. This holds probably 4 ounces of liquid. So what you want to do, scoop out 1, 2, 3 pretty big dollops, and then you want to mix it till it's about the shade of the actual salmon. So we'll mix in the material. As you can see, it sort of slowly blends together. This is a little bit lighter than I like it, so I'll add a little bit more. You're effectively looking at, I would say, 2 to 3 tablespoons of actual mayonnaise, and then probably 1 tablespoon. So it's a 1 to 3 ratio approximately. And that's your finished product. Now what you want to do is take what's in this bowl and add it into the salmon mixture, like this. And you want to let it sit for at least 2 to 3 hours. Usually the easiest way to do this, obviously, is to put it into the fridge. And then you want to take a little bit of the Glad wrap, cut it off, lay it over the top, and I like to press it down so it's nice and close to the actual salmon so that it prevents it from drying out. Alright? So that's how it is, and then I'll take it over and I'll put it in the fridge. Alright, so I'm going to do a bit of an unconventional sushi today as well. I like to do it, I've done it a few times now. It's a beef seared, very simple. It's still a little bit raw on the inside, but if you leave it marinate properly, the center is cooked anyways, so it will be very, very safe to eat and very tasty. I tend to use Angus AAA if I can find it. You can go a little bit less, but it tends to give a better taste if you have that. Now I've done 2 different treatments. One of them is a simple barbecue. The other is a spicy barbecue. The simple barbecue is just the rice wine vinegar with the Olsen sauce mixed together and applied directly to the beef. To add the spicy, again, simple red chili spice works very well and mixes in quite simply. Gotta remember which one's which though. Right, so we're going to move to cooking the items now. I put the regular beef in front. I like to cook it before the spicy, prevents transfer. Good for the kids, and still enjoyable for the adults. Right, I'm going to use sesame oil. Adds a little bit more flavor, really nice. So you want to bring your heat up to a medium high. Anything higher than that and you might burn the beef. So we're going to wait for it to heat up. Right, so I've got the beef prepared. I've got to remember again which one's hot and which one's not. Not hot, good for the kids. Hot, good for the parents. Mix them up, could be problems. Alright, so I'm going to start with the simple barbecue spice. The pan is hot. I'm going to put in a little bit of vegetable oil, just to keep it from sticking. I'm going to take the pieces and lay them out so that we're just searing the outside and not fully cooking each piece. Alright, we've got a nice sear on the one side, so we're going to turn them over. Start cooking the other side. Now that I've got them turned over, I'm going to add a little bit of sesame oil, just for a bit of extra flavor. Hear that nice sound? It means we're basically ready. So we're going to take the pan off, and we'll put everything into the plate.